Hello students, this is Sam sir and we are in the third chapter of our geography textbook. It's known as drainage and this is the first part of the chapter. We'll be doing this chapter in two parts and be sure to watch both of them because this part is mostly about definitions, and when you know that these definitions it will help you to understand the second part. The topics that we are going to cover in both part 1 and part 2 of this chapter known as drainage will be combined definitions, which are mostly there in this part, then about the Himalayan rivers including Indus, Ganga and the Brahmaputra river systems, then the peninsular rivers. This is divided into two parts: the west flowing rivers such as Narmada and Tapi, and the east flowing rivers Godavari, Mahanadi, Krishna, Kaveri, and the lakes and their importance of rivers to the economy of country, and causes and control of river pollution. So let's start with the definitions. The name of the chapter itself is drainage, and drainage in the terms of geography is the natural or artificial removal of a surface water and subsurface water from an area with excess of water. Now, surface water is the water that you can see with your eyes on the surface. You can see the surface of this water also. And subsurface water is the water you cannot see with the eyes, that is, it's lying below the surface of the ground. When we say a drainage basin, it means any area of land where precipitation collects and drains off into a common outlet such as a river, bay, or other body of water. Precipitation can be rainfall, but not necessarily that only. It can be also snow, it can be hail, it can also be precipitation from the atmosphere, that is like dew. When we say a drainage basin, so this is a figure of the drainage basin of the river Mahanadi, including the river itself and its tributaries and its mouth where it's emptying out into the sea. Wherever the water will percolate below the surface of the ground also, that all included is known as the drainage basin. When we say a water divide, it is an elevated terrain that separates neighboring drainage basins. On rugged land, the divide lies along topographical ridges and may be in the form of a single range of hills or mountains, known as a dividing range. Now, it's something very easy to understand, and it's all common sense because water cannot climb up, it will only flow horizontal or it will flow downwards down the slope. So any surface which is higher than the surface of the water naturally becomes a dividing factor for the water bodies. That is the water divide. Got two figures here. On the figure on the right hand side, the elevated land is the water divide, and it's dividing the water of the stream A from the water of stream B. And in real life, this plateau which you can see is the Ambala plateau, and on one side of Ambala plateau is the river Indus, and on the other side is the river Ganga, and this Ambala plateau divides the two waters. The river water of Indus does not meet the river water of Ganga because of Ambala water divide. So Ambala is an example of water divide. Meander is a regular sinuous curves, bends, loops, turns or windings in the channel of a river, stream or other watercourse. This is an example of meander. First look at the diagram. The area of ground where which gets soaked up with the water of the river, even if it is underground, is known as the floodplain. And when the river flows in curves and bends, these curves and bends are known as the meanders. So this river is taking a lot of loops, and these loops are the meander. You can also see on the left hand side a portion of the river water which has been cut off by soil, and it's formed a lake that is known as an oxbow lake. So, an oxbow lake is a U shaped lake that forms when a wide meander of a river is cut off, creating a freestanding body of water, as we just saw. Now, floodplain is an area of land adjacent to a stream or river which stretches from the banks of its channels to the base of the enclosing valley walls and which experiences flooding during periods of high discharge. Now let's see what is a drainage pattern. A drainage pattern is a pattern formed by rivers or streams and lakes in a particular drainage basin. So there are four types of drainage patterns. One is dendritic, trellis, rectangular, and radial. Now let's see them one by one. A dendritic pattern is one in which the streams branch randomly in all directions and at almost any angle, resembling in plan the branching habit of certain trees. This word dendritic itself means um, similar to trees. So when you look at this diagram, you feel that this uh, this pattern of water that is there is like a tree which is lying on its side. So this is dendritic pattern. Trellis drainage pattern. In this, the river forms a net-like system, and the tributaries flow roughly parallel to each other. Now, first understand what is a trellis. The trellis is a support for climbing plants, and trellis in geography is this pattern. On the right hand side, lower side is the equivalent of the plant being potted and the plants climbing on trellis, parallel, almost parallel to each other. This pattern is known as trellis pattern. Then we have rectangular drainage pattern. This is the pattern in which the main streams and their tributaries display many right angle bends. Now that is important. Right angle bends and exhibit sections of approximately the same length, just like the opposite sides of a rectangle are of same length, and it is indicative of the streams following prominent faults or joint systems that break the rocks into rectangular blocks. So it actually indicates what is there below the soil. If there are uh, rocks which are arranged in the form of rectangles, or if there are prominent faults, then the river which is flowing on the surface will take those patterns. This is an example. So below this river, there are rocks which are broken in rectangles. That is the reason why the river is also flowing in such a pattern. Then, fourthly, we have the radial drainage pattern. It's a pattern in which consequent streams radiate or diverge outward, like the spokes of a wheel, from a central high area. So, if there's a hill or a hillock and water is flowing from all the sides of it downwards, and when you look at it from the top, it will look like a wheel of a bicycle, for example, with a central hub and the spokes for the streams. Now, drainage pattern depends on these four things. First is the slope of the land. The second is the underlying rock structure. And thirdly, it's the climate of the region. If the climate of the region is very dry, before these rivers cut into the soil, they will dry up. A river system is a river along with its tributaries and distributaries. Tributaries are the rivers which join the main river, and distributaries are rivers which branch out from the main river. This is the difference between them. So, a river system includes the river, its tributaries, its distributaries, its mouth or the delta it's forming, and the catchment area or the basin. So, everything together forms the river system. A river basin is in the word basin itself is a dip or depression in the surface, and a river basin is the drainage basin of a river. That's an area drained by a river and all its tributaries. A spit, also known as a sand spit, is a deposition bar or beach landform off the coasts or lake shores. So here's a photograph for you. This long stretch of sand going out into the sea is the spit, and the region of water it has enclosed here is known as a lagoon. Now let's see what's the sandbar. It's also known as a shoal, less commonly, and it is a natural submerged ridge, bank, or bar that consists of or is covered by sand or other unconsolidated material and rises from the bed of a body of water near the surface. So here's a sandbar, and since in this photograph the water is very clear, you can see the width of the sandbar which is below the water. A lagoon is a shallow body of water separated from a larger body of water by barrier islands or reefs. So, in this photograph, the dark blue color water is the open sea, and the light blue color water is the lagoon water, and the boundary, the very light blue color, is the boundary, and it's usually sandbars which separating the two waters. The estuary is a tidal mouth of a large river where the tide meets the stream, and it's a particularly partially enclosed coastal body of brackish water with one or more rivers or streams flowing into it, and importantly, with a free connection to the open sea. So, that you can see in this photograph, that in this photograph there is one river which is coming and meeting the sea. Here it's meeting the sea, and it's having a free access, open access to the sea. Now, factors affecting drainage system of India is the broad relief features. This means that India being a subcontinent, and because it's quite big in size, seventh largest country in the world with a land area of 3.28 million square kilometers and having mountains, deserts, river plains, as well as ghats. There are lot many factors influencing the drainage system of India. With this, we come to the end of part one of this chapter. I am Samsher, and the intention of this chapter is not to get a thumbs up. And if you feel you have benefited from it, then only you can give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I am not a YouTuber, as you know, I'm a school teacher, and the intention is to provide knowledge in this period of lockdown. Bye, till next time.